This is a special edition of the Hal Turner Show. Today is 23 February 2016. It is 8:01 p.m. here on the East Coast of the United States. About a week ago, I did a special show like this, during which I announced that we were likely 18 days away from World War III. A lot has transpired since then. I want to bring you up to date because something happened earlier today that makes me fear beyond fear that World War III is literally just days away. When I came on last Tuesday evening, I explained to you that Turkey in the Middle East was massing troops. Saudi Arabia had begun plans for a military exercise. And then later last week, on Wednesday and Thursday, I was able to tell you that Saudi Arabia's military exercise was of their new Arab coalition against terrorism. And as part of this exercise, they were going to assemble 350,000 ground troops, 20,000 tanks and armored vehicles, 2,450 warplanes, 460 military helicopters. These forces were massing in northern Saudi Arabia for a drill. And I made it clear that never before in the history of human existence was there a drill involving that many ground troops and that many pieces of armor, that many warplanes, or that many helicopters. A drill has to be manageable. A drill has to be something that people can engage in, have their conduct and their performance analyzed, that they can learn from. And in order to have a drill, you have to have, experts, trainers, teachers, people to analyze what's gone on, people to critique it, people to train. And you simply cannot have a drill or an exercise with 350,000 troops. It was an invasion force. And it was an invasion force that was being misrepresented deliberately as an exercise by the country that was hosting it, Saudi Arabia, because for the last 4 or so years, it's turned out that it's been Saudi Arabia and their Sunni Muslim pals in the Middle East, countries like Qatar, Kuwait, Bahrain, Turkey, incidentally, Sunni Muslim. They are the ones that have been backing the so-called moderate rebels who have been engaged in a civil war in an effort to overthrow the government of Syria. And I pointed out to you last week in the various shows that I aired that the president of Syria, Bashar Assad, was being templated. He was being templated the same way Saddam Hussein of Iraq had been templated, the same way Muammar Gaddafi of Libya had been templated. Heck, if you want to go back even farther, this template, I think, first originated with Slobodan Milosevic in the old Yugoslavia, when the Serbs in Serbia and the Croats in Croatia were going at each other. Bosnia, Herzegovina, you guys remember that stuff, right? It was back in the mid-90s, around 1996. That's when this template really got going. And the template was simple. When they want to overthrow a country's government, they accuse the leader of being a ruthless dictator who oppresses his people, who denies them the ability to vote, who beats them and gasses them and tortures them. You know the drill. And that's what was being done to President Bashar Assad of Syria. Now, don't get me wrong. In some of these cases, this template may have been correct. But it is my considered opinion that in all of these templates, all of these cases, Whether the leader was a dictator and abusive was none of our damn business. That is an issue for the people of each of those countries. The same way that the founding fathers of these United States rose up against tyranny and threw off an oppressive king is the same way that all the people of every other country that exists on this planet can rise up and throw off their oppressive dictator, tyrant leader. It is completely unacceptable to me that my country, these United States, engages in the overthrow of governments on the basis of the way that government treats its people. Because I think that if we're going to have a standard whereby governments can be overthrown by foreign governments based upon the way that government treats its people, then we need only look at the way our federal government treats the people of this country and ask rhetorically, because I don't want to get arrested and thrown back in jail, ask rhetorically, isn't our government repressive? Isn't our president acting like a dictator? Because if someone on the outside were to apply the same template to the federal government of this country that our federal government has applied to the leaders of other countries, it seems to me that some people around the world might come to the conclusion that it was our government that needed to go. Now, I don't know if they would come to that conclusion. I'm simply talking in abstract terms here.